Happy Christmas, Exodus family. As much as I would have loved to be with you this Christmas Eve, COVID had other plans for me. So Drew, Carter, and I are sending warm wishes from afar as I record this remote sermon. Christmas time can elicit a lot of strong emotions from people, and they aren't always black and white. Some people spend Christmas enjoying time with family and loved ones, while others can only distantly remember when their loved ones were around to celebrate with them. Some people get caught up in shopping and presents, while others work the holiday, having no choice. Even the first Christmas, the best one ever, was a stressful experience for a young, tired, displaced mother named Mary. But much like Mary, the mother of Jesus, we are to have a heavenly hope of one thing every Christmas. Good things are coming. Besides Jesus, Mary, Joseph, and the wise men, there is another pivotal figure to the cultural Christmas zeitgeist. His name is Santa. Now, a lot of evangelical churches tend to avoid any mention of Santa during the season. They might say that Santa takes away the spotlight from the true meaning of Christmas. But I don't really see it that way. In fact, Saint Nick, the patron saint of children, was one of the most devoted miracle-working Christians in his time. Saint Nick never wished for so much credit to be attributed to him. His tradition of secret gift-giving and outreach to the poor was certainly not to glorify himself. In doing a good turn towards others without seeking credit, he hoped to bring himself and other people closer to God. Saint Nick signed the Nicene Creed at the First Council of Nicaea and has continued to inspire people across the globe to give of themselves for the benefit of others. It may seem controversial to mention Santa Claus at a Christmas Eve service, but honestly, I think that his story is a great example of how Jesus can change the way we behave toward each other. So, although the traditional nativity story bears repeating over and over again, I would like to share another one with you. Maybe one you've never heard. Nicholas, a young Greek boy living in Asia Minor, had lost his parents to a devastating illness. They were wealthy, strong Christians and raised him to love God and love his neighbor. His uncle was a famous bishop at the time, who saw the innate passion Nick had for doing the work of ministry and ordained him as young as he could. With his heart heavy from the loss of his loving parents, he still decided that the Christ-like thing to do would be to give their fortune to the poor. While doing ministry work across the continent, Nicholas heard of a man who had made some wrong turns in life. Because of this, the man ended up penniless. His 3 daughters were desperate to marry off, but he could not afford a dowry, and the family was at risk of becoming destitute or worse. Saint Nick decided he wanted to help, but in secret. One night, he snuck in through their window and dropped a satchel of money, just enough for a dowry for the eldest daughter. She was married off soon after. Then, Saint Nick did this again for a second daughter, who was then married as well. The father stayed up for 2 sleepless nights, trying to figure out who would help him in a city where he felt completely unloved and alone. Then he saw Saint Nick once again crawl in through the window. The father dropped to his knees, crying and thanking him as Saint Nick once again paid off the dowry for his 3rd and youngest daughter. What did Saint Nick say to the father? Don't mention it. The moral for me is that charity shouldn't just be a Christmas obligation. It should be a Christian obligation. Year-round, there are people out there who feel ostracized by their communities, people who are lonely, people who are hungry, but those who carry the Spirit of Jesus inside their hearts can give hope to those who need it most. The Apostle Paul puts it perfectly in his letter to the Corinthians. He attributes Christ as the one who comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. Saint Nick had God through the most difficult portion of his young life. An epidemic wiped out his parents. Lots of us have lost people to an epidemic recently that is currently affecting me. But instead of turning inward with grief, he turned outward with love. In many of the modern translations of the Bible, the word love is mentioned over 500 times. People around me say that Saying I love you all the time cheapens it, but I don't think that's the case. Having an overabundance of love in life doesn't make it cheap. There is no way to cheapen love as long as it's genuine. And the genuine love that transforms us when we know Jesus does not know how to stay hidden from others. People like St. Nick dedicate their lives to the spirit of Christmas. I define the spirit of Christmas this way: putting hope and love somewhere they weren't before. If we were to carry the spirit of Christmas around with us all year long, I'm sure that we would not only welcome in good things, but be motivated to make those good things happen. St. Nick doesn't just spend one night a year spreading joy. It's a whole year affair. God doesn't just move when we need them to. God moves second by second, keeping the universe intact through a type of unshakable love none of us could ever fully comprehend. Being the disciples we are called to be starts with acknowledging the truth of God's love. If we look for it, it won't be hard to find. Sometimes, especially around Christmas, I can kind of have these blinders on, where all I see is the bleak outside and the stress and pressure of making things perfect for those around me. But all the while, God is closer than I think. I've lost my keys when they're right in front of me, or my phone when I'm talking on it. God is like that too. When something is always with you, you can forget that it's there. But that doesn't mean that it's not present. And the presence of God is the best Christmas present of all. In fact, it was the very first one, Emmanuel, God with us. Having COVID this Christmas has also allowed me and Drew to reflect on being a joyful giver and receiver. I've had friends ding-dong ditch me to leave us cookies at our door. Parents make sure we're fed. A boss covering all of our shifts, and kind, caring people checking in on us, not minding the one-word responses as we curl up in bed half-conscious. These people aren't giving to get. They aren't keeping receipts. Jesus didn't give to turn a profit. Because when you have the love of God, you have everything, and you want to share what you have. So Christmas isn't about Santa. But St. Nick is a prime example of what Christ can do in someone's heart. The Christmas mindset, which again is hope and love, year-round, is what guarantees joy around the corner for people who don't see it coming. Our commission is not just to profess belief, but to show through action why love is worth believing in. Love cannot be bought from a store because it is priceless. It comes from God who loved us first and gets passed down through us when we believe in it. If we want to keep the name of Christ in Christmas, let's shift our focus from vilifying our neighbors to helping them, even the ones who haven't acknowledged the priceless value of love. So Exodus, this sermon is my gift to you. I'm delivering an unconventional message through an unconventional method. I don't have much else to give other than COVID, which I refuse to do. So I thought I would share some wisdom and stories instead. You all mean so much to me, and growing in faith with each and every one of you has only made the presence of God in my life more visible to me. I hope this video finds everyone healthy and well. Above all, Merry Christmas.